Oh, look, we're nearly there. It's gonna go, even though... Is it the 18th of October? Yes, it is. It is the 18th of October. Look, I made a little banner. And oh, I'm tiny. Let's make me a bit bigger, shall we? There we go. Hello. Good morning. How are you? Hope you're doing all right. 18th of November. I keep saying Noctober. This year has been a bit of a weird one. My sort of like passage of time is just completely warped, but that's good because I write historical fiction and my passage of time should be completely warped. But there we go. I have a comment already. Hello, Zoe. It is nice to see you. So there we go. Yes, I'm going to talk to you. Today is a big day. Today's Friday, believe it or not, 110 years ago. We're talking 1910 because it's basically when the suffragettes got a bit... It's in my book. Because basically this is the moment where the sort of like, I think it's 10-month peacetime ends, because Asquith has promised them, hey, it's going to be okay. I'm going to, let us in. We'll form a little government and we'll get the consolidation bill correct. Consolidation bill. Difficult, but we'll get it all sorted for you. Women can have the vote, and by women, the rich ones, because not all men get the vote in 1910. We run the world. Lots of very important decisions to make. Why should a poor person in London have rights over the entirety of India? Why should they? Right, exactly. Only rich people in London should tell India what to do. Anyway, so I hope, by the way, that you're getting my sort of, I don't really approve of imperialism, can you tell? But there we go. So my book, I wanted to start on the moment where the suffragettes start to fight back. And the reason they're fighting back is because the suffragists have been fighting for over, I think, 60 years at this point. No, over 50 years, just coming up to 60 years, saying women should have the right to vote. Let's get women the right to vote. Wouldn't that be a good idea? And the government's going... Who would they vote for? Would they vote for me? I'm not sure. And also, aren't they a bit stupid? And haven't we got separate spheres? Haven't we got the home life and the work life? Spheres, guys. Men like spheres. So there's a lot of impatience, but the WSPU, WSPU, Women's Social Political Union, they'd been going, right, we'll hold it off. We won't do anything violent. No window smashing for like 10 months. And then Asquith goes, oh, conciliation bill where I'm going to give you the right to vote. Yeah, no, we're going to have another election now. And so a week after he makes that decision, the suffragettes organise this massive march on London. Now I'm going to share my screen with you, my beautiful screen. Oh, there it is. Oh, isn't it lovely? So here we have, this is Edith Garrud, fighting policemen. And this is roughly when this drawing is done. It's basically, this is done because Edith's doing a lot of shows, trying to raise money for the WSPU and other suffrage movements by doing shows where she throws policemen over her head. And everybody thinks it's a massive jape, the idea of a woman being able to fight a real man. And they see it and they go, oh. But there we go. So if I go here, oh, that's me. That's me there. Look at me. Look, hang on. Look at my face. Look at the concentration going through my face as I see Atoshi, my friend Sunil, and this lady here doing this almost the same throw, and my friend Sam, who is stamping on someone's face saying, I'm going to get rid of that banner, and then you'll be able to see it. Look at that. Look, and I think that is Jim's bottom there. So enjoy that. Good old Jim. Sensei Jim. Anyway, so this is the sort of violence that I talk about in my book. However, not much of this was done. The reason, basically, this got popular and Edith got more and more people wanting to learn self-defense is simply because Black Friday was so violent. So, woohoo! Oh, yes, I forgot to say, before we get there, Letty Pegg in the morning gets a present from her dad. It is a pair of roller skates that she's always wanted a pair of roller skates. Oh my God, because everybody's got a roller skate. It's amazing. They're like PS5s. They really are. Everybody wants one and nobody can get hold of them. They're amazing. But if you have a look at the roller skates these guys are wearing, I don't know if you can see that they go over their normal shoes. So like you can just slip them on like an extra, like rolly slippers for your own shoes. How amazing is that? So yeah, oh, that's why I can't press that button. It's because my mouse is on the wrong screen. And so I regret doing these in the morning. That is what I regret, because I don't function very well in the morning. Can't relay information correctly. Kept saying Noctober, November 1910, 18th. That's where we are. So anyway, so she gets this pair of roller skates and actually finds them very difficult to put on. And she looks a bit like, I think her father describes her as a sort of newborn pony. But there we go. So I've got now to click here, and there we go. Oh, look, see, romantic roller skating. Also, I don't know if you can see this, but at the bottom here, I know you can't, hang on, I'll get rid of that banner. And so, guys, it's just amazing. Look, it says the gentle art of rinking. Rinking. Which I quite like as an idea. But what happens is, so the idea is they're going to petition the government and they're going to make them sign the bills. They're not going to let anything happen, anybody in or out the building. They're just going to continue to do this until they just sign the bill. And literally, I think back in 1904, like, they've gone through Parliament and the Lords have rejected it because the Lords are really conservative. But they were just like, come on, we get, just sign it before you have call the election. Just sign it. And so that was their idea. They're going to march on London, they're going to petition, and they're not going anywhere until they sign. Now, Winston Churchill, oh, we love him, don't we? He's the Home Secretary, so he's in charge of the police at this point. And what he doesn't want to happen is he doesn't want any arrests to happen. I've just accidentally shut something, so that's fun, isn't it? Here we go. But yeah, he basically doesn't want to do any arrests, because the women like to be arrested, believe it or not, because that means you go to prison, and if you go to prison, you can protest and become a political prisoner. Why do you want to be a political prisoner? Because then you get to write letters, you get all the advertising in all the papers for free, you get to say how horrid the government are and how dare they treat a delicate woman like this. And they were pretty beastly to them. This is around the time when they're starving themselves in prison as a form of protest. And at the moment, what they're doing is they're letting them out when they're getting ill, because they're just like, oh gosh, you're starving yourself. Okay, we'll keep you a couple of days and then we'll send you away and you can come back later on, or we'll just forget your sentence. That's embarrassing. How awful. And sooner or later, I think in 1912, they start the Cat and Mouse Act, which is basically, oh, you're starving yourself. Very well, go away. Oh, you're looking better. Come back. No, go away, come back. Have you ever seen a cat play with a mouse like that? So just constantly letting him go, bringing him back in, letting go, bringing him back in. And when I say they're force feeding them, they really are force feeding them. So when they're in prison, oh, you're not eating, very well, tube down the neck. And what's really horrible is not only is it a tube up the nose, off and down the neck, 3 times a day sometimes. Ow, no lube, just ouch. But also they whip it out again. So all these women are suffering horrible lesions and stuff in their necks and noses, and it's horrible. By the way, this is only, once again, working class women who are suffering like this. There's a photo, or there's a record of Mrs. Pankhurst being force-fed, and it's literally her sat there like this, going, and this man offering her a spoon, and she's like, no. She's from Manchester, so she wouldn't have sounded like that. I just want to add. But like I say, the suffragettes really did want to be arrested. Here you can see Annie Kenney being arrested. Look how happy she is. And here's a woman being arrested here. And I just want you to note of the glee in these men's faces, the happy smiles that are going on, the sort of laugh and jollity of these women being arrested. It was seen as, very funny that women got arrested. And this is actually on Black Friday. It's a woman protesting, trying to get to Parliament. Because what happened was Winston Churchill filled Parliament Square with police and mounted police as well. And they physically stopped the suffragettes. But he said, please don't arrest them, because if you arrest them, they're going to protest. And that looks really bad for the government, right? It looks really awful for us. So can you just not arrest them, just hold them back? And the police are like, okay. And you've got to imagine these poor police. Like Letty's dad is a policeman in my book, The Unstoppable Letty Pegg, and it's just a miserable job. So you've got to spend 6 hours or more stopping women trying to enter a building, and you're not allowed to arrest them. And really, are you allowed to beat women to get them to back off? And at first they were very hesitant about that, and then they decided, yes, that is the best way. And they were really quite vicious. Mrs. Billinghurst, who I think I've got a picture of. Here she is. She's in the corner up here. This is Mrs. Billinghurst. She's in her tricycle wheelchair, and she's paralysed from the waist down, and she can't move and that sort of thing. And yet, literally, they chuck her out of her wheelchair, and repeatedly, more than once, because women are very stubborn. And they keep coming back. They're saying, no, we're going to do this until, and despite orders of no arrests, I think it's 115 women and 4 men. 4 men protested too. Put on you guys. But yeah, they were arrested, and they were taken to Bow Street, and they were charged, and they were told to come back in the morning. Obviously, the ones who were a bit more bolshy got sent to Holloway overnight, which might be Letty's mum. Might go to Holloway prison tomorrow. Holloway was the women's prison in London, and it was very lovely. They treated them with such care and looked after them psychologically well. Anyway, I don't know if this is of any interest. If you do have a question, I am here to answer your questions. Well, not that one, but yeah, it says at the end of this, little rant down here. But yeah, anyway, it's a nice day. 18th. It was slightly drizzly that day in London. It started raining a bit, but it cleared up again. There's a lot of stories about different things. In my book, I pick on a police officer called R21, which is an actual police officer who was recorded in the Suffragette, the newspaper that they made, as being one of the main sort of men who beat the women. I don't know anything more information about him other than that number R21. So he is in my book as a baddie. So you can enjoy that moment. But it was, and it wasn't just the police and the women there. There were loads of anti-suffrage protesters. Now, normally on every suffrage march, there are anti-suffrage protesters, and they're a bit like, I sort of, picture them, and the way they're described is sort of very nerdy, very Christian. No, women's place are in the home. I don't want the right to vote. My man knows the right to vote. I don't know why they're from Essex. I don't think they all were. I'm sure some were. But yeah, so they were a bit silly. But they genuinely thought it's very important that you have these two ideas of the man's world and the woman's world, and they're separate, and therefore you can't have women crossing over into the men's domain, and you can't have men crossing over into the women's domain. It's weird. I don't like it. And it's very odd. There's I can't remember her name at all now. There's lots of women who are very powerful in their own way, like women who explorers, and they don't want the right to vote as well. They describe women who want the same rights as men as androgynes, so they're androgynous and weird and not proper. And it's very, and it's very odd because obviously that's a very transphobic, idea. But at the same time, you've got musical, and everywhere in musical, you have men dressed as women, women dressed as boys and men, and they're all singing and dancing and talking, not quite talking about, naughty things and that sort of. It's very odd. It's very, very strict, and they're freaked out by the idea of women entering male spaces. Oh, I have a comment. Can I roller skate? No, I cannot roller skate. I am a bad roller skate. I think last time I tried was before I did any sort of fitness. So the past sort of 6 years, I've actually been going down the gym and looking after myself and doing jiu-jitsu and that sort of thing. But before then, I tried to roller skate and I fell down. There's actually some steps. This is the thing when you write a book, right? She learns to roller skate in Brighton. Letty Pegg does. Where did I learn to roller skate? In Brighton. Where did she get her roller skates? Where I used to roller skate in Brighton in the 90s. So there we go. I'm so imaginative and creative. This is the thing. I can't be a proper author. I can't do it like the people who can just go, I will imagine nothing and I'll create a world for myself. No, I need the world to already be established. I need to find all the facts about it, and then I get excited by the facts, and then I can put the story in the facts, and I can mold them together, mush them, and make a very fun thing. Like this book, you should buy it. But yeah, so that is all I think for today. I think I've answered the questions about Black Friday. Genuinely, it was shocking. It made the front pages. All tomorrow's front pages are going to be suffragettes on the floor, clutching their faces with policemen over them, hitting them around the place. Nobody actually died that day. One woman had her leg broken, And that was blamed on her cancer. And that's because we didn't understand cancer and everything else. But so there was, and one woman had, a couple of days later, had a heart attack, and that was blamed on the shock of Black Friday. So there are sort of some fatalities associated with it. But the arrests were a great number, 115 arrests. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And 4 men, but anyway, and what was the imprisonment at Holloway like at the time? Not that fun. The suffragettes as well, they did these little displays, and they had fake prison cells, so people got an understanding of what it was like in Holloway. And to be honest, it was less overcrowding than there is today. So you got your own cell, but there was nothing in it, and you wore a uniform with chalk arrows pointing up. Or just white. I think it was blue with white. And you got outside time, and it was cold because there was no heating. It was just cold, and you were in quite a thin uniform. That was the main thing that people come back with. And it was run, most of the guards and everything were women, the nurses, and that's the thing. The doctors were men, the men in charge were men. And they would be quite rough with you if you refused to eat. And I literally know I'm a suffragist, not a suffragette, because I couldn't go through that. It's just horrific the way they were feeding. So yeah, there we go. Okay then, chaps. I've got to go away and record another podcast because I'm a podcast crazy nutcase. And but I will see you tomorrow, and we will talk about what happens outside Bow Street, and we might talk a bit more about Holloway Prison as well, if you like. But other than that, also, if you are watching this, I hate it whenever YouTube or Facebook or Twitter video says this, but just give us a like and let people know that's happening, because, yeah, I haven't done that. So you've got to do it for me so more people see this. And we'll learn stuff about the past and history and how hard it was to get the vote and how many women got their noses broken. All right then, chaps, I will see you tomorrow.